Previously in Kenya, we were colonized. Our land was taken, our leaders were silenced, but the people had not forgotten. Beneath the quiet, fires were being lit, small, hidden, but spreading.
Wimbo huu ni wimbo wa historia, watu wote mnaombwa msikize kwa makini.
The 1920s opened with a new name, Kenya Colony. The British Empire had declared Kenya a white man's country and built laws to protect settlers, while Africans were taxed, relocated, and ruled without consent. But all across the land, the seeds of resistance had already been planted. In the forests of the Rift Valley, the spirit of Foateller Arab Samoy still whispered through the trees. In the coastlands, the legend of Mekatilili Wamenza was told in hushed tones. In 1921, a young man named Harry Thuku founded the Young Kikuyu Association, the first of many African political movements. He spoke against forced labor, high taxes, and the caste system. His arrest in 1922 sparked protests in Nairobi. When women marched to demand his release, colonial police opened fire, killing several. Among them was Mary Muthoni Nyanjiru, who dared men to remove their trousers if they would not fight. Her body was broken, but her words echoed. African voices were treated as dangerous. Newspapers were censored. Movements banned. But still, they came. In 1944, the colonial government was forced to appoint the first African to the Legislative Council, Eliud Matu. But it was a token move. By now, a new kind of resistance was rising, not in parliaments, but in forests. By the late 1940s, young men and women were taking oaths under fig trees. They were swearing not just loyalty to each other, but vengeance for land, for blood, for betrayal. They became known as Mau Mau. To the British, Mau Mau were terrorists, but to many Africans, they were freedom fighters. They took to the forests of Mount Kenya and the Aberdares. Their goal, to make Kenya ungovernable, to make the colonizer fear. In 1952, the British declared a state of emergency. Jomo Kenyatta, then head of the Kenya African Union, was arrested. Accused of leading Mau Mau, though evidence was unclear, he would be sentenced to 7 years in prison. The crackdown was brutal. Over 1.5 million Africans were placed in detention camps. Villages were burned, crops destroyed. Torture, rape, starvation became tools of British control. But even with the iron fist of empire pressing down, the Mau Mau refused to surrender. Deep in the forests, leaders like Dedan Kimathi, Field Marshal Muthoni Kirima, and General China fought on. Kimathi, symbolic leader of the resistance, was captured in 1956. He was hanged in 1957. But the fire he lit was not extinguished. Internationally, the world began to take notice. Britain was accused of war crimes. The cost of the war was rising. And back home, a new generation of African political leaders, Tom Mboya, Oginga Odinga, Mbiu Koinange, were gaining ground. By the early 1960s, it was clear the British could not hold Kenya forever. Mau Mau had broken the illusion of peace. They had exposed the myth of benevolent empire. And though they were vilified for decades, their sacrifices cracked open the gates of independence. These were not just rebels. They were ancestors reclaiming the future. They were the fire beneath the flag.
Toka sasa mpaka milele, Kenya nchi